I was gonna make this video about what university you want to choose because right now you're in your last year before you go to university, and you're kind of stressed out about your choices. There's so many choices. There's so many good choices, or there's just like not enough people that's telling you where to go. But I realized that before we even jump into this whole cycle of stress and trying to decide, I want you to realize something first. A way more important message is that whatever university you're going to choose, I don't care if it's a community college, I don't care if it's fucking MIT or Harvard, your life is going to be unpredictable. I'm not saying this in a bad way, I'm not saying this in a good way. It's just going to be unpredictable. Things will not happen the way you just picture it to happen. You're not a character in a book. Something is going to happen that you didn't expect that's going to change your life and is going to change your life trajectory. All right? And that's going to happen. All right? It's going to happen sometime during college or after college. It doesn't matter. Whatever the case is, you can't right now bet on exactly what you're going to be doing in the future. What you want to bet on right now is just making sure that you go in a mindset that whatever college you go to, okay, whatever life experience you're going to have, you're able to leverage this environment around you, the opportunities around you to just better your life. Grow as a person. Day to day, if you're growing, it doesn't matter what college, what university, what school you go to, what fucking job you have, what internship you have. Day to day, if you're becoming better as a person, that's all that fucking matters, and your life is bettering. We got some unemployed homies around, but for some reason, they're super happy in life. And whatever your definition of success is, that's low-key a good definition of success. If they're happy and they can maintain that for the next fucking decades of their lives, they've made it. It's not the $1 million. It's not all of that bullshit. It's the fact that they can do whatever the fuck they want, and they're doing it. And they're doing what they want to do. All right? And they're actually doing it. Because, let's say, me, I've been going to fucking school. I wanted to play Minecraft. I haven't played Minecraft for 5 fucking years now. Okay. I want to play Minecraft all day. I haven't played Minecraft for 5 years. What does that tell you? Technically, I'm supposed to be, pretty successful. I'm going to a very good school. I'm doing a lot of things. I got good things going on for myself. But I haven't played Minecraft for 5 years. I want to play Minecraft. I miss Minecraft. I miss Hypixel. I miss Skywars, Bed Wars. Shout out to all of these games. Cool, fun shit. Build some cool buildings. That's all I want to do with my day. I haven't played for 5 years now. Your unemployed homie who has time to play Minecraft because he's, for some reason, structured his life in some way so that he's got time to play Minecraft and still be happy and still survive. That's a good definition of wealth and success in life. Because wealth is not about money. It's about time. It's about your mental state of being. Let's actually talk about the universities you want to go to. Currently, I'm studying a bachelor's of mechanical engineering with a minor in technological entrepreneurship at McGill University in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Back in the day, I've applied to a few other universities too, and a few other programs. This is the list. First of all, University of Waterloo. I got into honors mechanical engineering at University of Waterloo, and I was gonna apply to their architecture program, but I kind of got into a lot of other programs in the other universities. So I was kind of this isn't my first choice, so I kind of just gave up on my applications for architecture at Waterloo midway. But they still kind of just randomly gave me a urban planning offer. But I didn't choose Waterloo at the end of the day. I will go into the whys and why I did or did not choose these schools later. Right now, let's just continue with the list. I've applied to UBC engineering, and I got in. I've also applied to UBC School of Architecture, and I got in. From here, you can kind of see the pattern. I'm a big engineering guy and a big architecture guy. I've also applied to McGill University and got into mechanical engineering and their architecture program. Waterloo, UBC, McGill. I've also applied to MIT, but I didn't get in. So let's not talk about MIT anymore. I've also applied to University of Toronto in engineering, and I didn't get in because midway into the application, I realized I really don't give a fuck about the University of Toronto. I used to give a fuck about them until I didn't anymore, because all the other schools are kind of cooler and people seemed less miserable. And yeah. Okay, I'm joking. It's just because I didn't get in. Do I have any backups? Was it that? I just applied to the best schools? McGill was my backup. I was just like convinced I could get in, and I got in. Okay, now that you know my list, why didn't I choose any other schools? First of all, there's a lot of fucking schools to apply to already. I don't understand how you motherfuckers apply to 10 schools, because, like, narrow down your choices first. Decide yourself. Damn! Anyways, on a serious note, yeah, so these were all the schools I applied to. I didn't have any other backups. And if you were to ask me, why didn't I choose to apply to any other Canadian schools? To be honest with you, I didn't give a fuck about any other Canadian school. I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. I just didn't think much of these other schools. All right? They're like, you can ask me, hey, buddy, why didn't you think about the other universities in Canada? They're great. I'm sure they are. I just didn't think of them. Back in the day, to be fully honest with you, I barely knew about these other schools. University of Alberta, Western, McMaster's, Bishop. Or even in the city itself, in Montreal, Concordia, ETS, Polytechnique, all of these schools, they're good. I just never considered them personally. We're going to go into the reasons right now for why I chose those schools and why I didn't even consider these other schools. So let's start with the schools I didn't consider. All right, so again, these schools I didn't consider, it was mostly because I was going for the best schools in Canada, and notoriously the list was UBC, Waterloo, McGill, and UofT. So I chose for these four. The rest, I'm sure they're good again, but they weren't on my list because they weren't on the list of the most mentioned schools usually. But again, remember the first message in my video. It doesn't fucking matter what school you choose. It will provide you opportunities to better your life. Okay? These schools included, and they're very good schools. I just personally never chose them. You've endured all this yapping. Now let's analyze bit by bit McGill, UofT, UBC, and Waterloo, and why I chose McGill over these three amazing schools. Let's start with University of British Columbia, UBC. That was actually my first choice. I ended up not going because I realized it's fucking expensive. And also, after talking to a few UBC students and learning more about their engineering program, I realized that the engineering program is kind of messy and is very stressful because in the beginning you go into general engineering and then you get to choose what specialization you go into, like mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, mining, all of these, chemical engineering, etc., etc. But the problem is, I wanted to just do mechanical engineering. I don't give a fuck about the other ones. And it's GPA based. Like they put people in these programs based on GPA and merit, kind of. But it's like, by then, it's like, dude, what if I just worked my ass off for like the first 2 years and I end up in a fucking program that I didn't even want just because I fucked up on a test or two? And like knowing that I'm gonna be in UBC, I'll have to be like working my ass off to survive, to pay all my bills, because I'll be living by myself and I'm not rich like that. All right, I'm not rich like a lot of the UBC kids. So I'm not gonna be fucking working full time or part time and pay for my rent, pay for my tuition that's gonna cost me a liver there, and pay for all my living expenses there, and work my ass off in a fucking hard engineering program and still like be 100% sure that I'm gonna go into mechanical engineering later on because they decided to put me in mechanical. Like, I'm not gonna do that. It's too much stress for nothing, and it's on the other fucking side of this country, and this country is as big as the fucking continent in terms of width. So it's too much risk for me coming from Montreal with my situation, so I didn't go. Although UBC, the pros, was beautiful campus and super cool school, all right, and a lot of opportunities. It's the best school in the West. But overall, I just ended up realizing, you know what, it's not realistic for me. That's for engineering. For the architecture program, when I called them, I realized after I got in, I was like, okay, so what can I do with this degree? A bachelor's, an undergrad in architecture at UBC. And they said, not much. Like to be an architect, you need a master's degree. And I was like, okay, what are the requirements for the master's degree? Okay, in architecture. And they said, you can be from an engineering background. You can be from like it's they consider a lot of applicants, and they don't have to come from an undergrad in an architecture background. So I realized it's kind of like obsolete to take this undergrad in architecture, even though it's a super cool program and it's one of the best. And I got in, and I love architecture. I just ended up realizing, I could do a very valuable undergrad degree, which was engineering, which would be employable to me already. And then if I wanted to do architecture after, I can just go for a master's in architecture anyway. Objectively, this wasn't a good use of my next 4 or 5 years. So I didn't choose architecture at UBC. So this was the situation for UBC engineering and UBC architecture, and this was why I didn't choose UBC. But if you're from Vancouver and you already got a place to live in Vancouver, you're well off financially already, enough to be paying this UBC tuition, etc., etc. And you know that you can fully focus on studying if you are studying at UBC. It's a great place for you. Maybe McGill, UofT, or Waterloo would be a less good place for you, because then you'll have to move, and then the outer province fees for you, the tuition, and having to pay for rent there, it might become a headache for you. So it's kind of a parallel for me. So me from here to there, it's too much of a headache. You from there to here, it's too much of a headache. So maybe just stay in your own, province and just study at UBC. For you, it's better. So that was also why I ended up choosing McGill, because McGill is one of the best schools. But people were trying to convince me to not choose McGill because it was notoriously, academically, one of the most rigorous engineering programs in the world. Like, for context, my grandpa is a fucking theoretical physicist. Not just theoretical. He's been working in nuclear physics, all right, his whole life. And he told me, he was like, boy, you're not going to McGill. You're gonna fucking suffer. And I don't want you to suffer that much. I want you to be successful. But you're gonna die at McGill. And I was like, okay, I'm choosing McGill. Like, their mechanical engineering program and their electrical engineering programs are notoriously fucked. It's like cursed. When I say fucked, it's like they make you go through the theory that's usually graduate level at many other schools, and especially in the United States. A lot of the United States schools, like their curriculum, it's pure water compared to like what a lot of the Canadian universities have to go through. Not just McGill, but McGill specifically. But a lot of the Canadian unis, they're super heavily regulated in a way that they're like teaching you a way harder engineering degree. So McGill, it's straight up just like one of the theoretically most heavy universities for engineering. The rest of the list has cool other opportunities for engineering, such as for their internships. Let's say Waterloo, way more hands-on. But theory-wise, it's not as heavy. But Waterloo overall, very well balanced. Very known worldwide for their engineering program. But it's not as like theoretically cursed, apparently. But I might be wrong. Okay? UofT I didn't get in, so that's why I didn't choose it. I didn't get in. But UofT, I just knew it was one of the best also, so I applied, but I didn't get in. But even if I got in, the price of living in Toronto is way too much. And the people call UofT UofTers because people just go there to suffer and be miserable and have no life and have no fun. And Toronto, it's big, but it's not as charming as a city like Montreal or even Vancouver. Here was what happened after I realized I didn't want to go to UBC, which was my first choice initially. I slowly shifted to Waterloo. And I was like, I'm considering Waterloo now because it is one of the most popular engineering schools in all of the world. People keep praising Waterloo for their engineers. And I thought if I want to go into engineering, it would be the most natural choice. Until I realized, I'm going into honors mechanical engineering first of all there. And to be honest with you, honors, that word kind of scared me. I was like, honors at Waterloo? I didn't want to hop off, you know, some building a few years later. Like all the rumors were saying about a lot of the students in Waterloo. Wasn't it like the self unaliving rate at Waterloo was so high? And I was like, at that very moment, remember, I wasn't in university yet, so I didn't face the material yet. In my head, it was like, this is the end of the world. I cannot go there, bro. Even if I got in, I don't wanna. And after I had a talk with one of my older role models, and he goes to McGill Mechanical Engineering, and this guy's a legend. Like he launched a rocket back in before even university. Like this guy knows his shit, and he advised me to not go to UofT, and he advised me not to go to Waterloo. Actually, no. He said here's what he said. He also got into Waterloo, but he said, it depends fully of you. If you want to stay in Montreal or go to Waterloo, both are wonderful schools. You want to go to McGill or Waterloo. And I ended up choosing McGill because I realized for my personal situation, it was the most convenient one because our tuition for local Quebec students for McGill, it's barely anything compared to Waterloo, U of T, UBC. I pay like around $3,000 Canadian of tuition every semester. Compared to like those other schools, it would have cost me a fucking liver. And also, going to the other schools meant I would have to pay for everything else, price of living. It's gonna be fucking high also. And here in Montreal, I'm already living with my family. I don't need to be paying rent. I'm just living with my family, and I have a very good relationship with my parents in the sense that I love them, and I have no issue with them, and I like to spend time with them. And I know that in my 20s, you know, it's gonna just in a blink I'm gonna be 30 one day, and people are gonna spend less and less time with their parents. I want to spend more time with my parents. I love them. I appreciate them a lot. So I I thought it's not a problem for me to be living at home while going to university. And that also means that I didn't have to pay for fucking rent. I didn't have to like and I'm eating at home, so I don't even need to pay much for food. So all my expenses at that point, if I'm going to self-fund living, you know, besides the fact that I'm living with my parents, it's just going to I'm going to have to pay for my, going out, my tuition by myself, which I do. I need to pay for commuting. I need to pay for, my lunches at school here and there. But that's it. Overall, that means that I have way more energy and time to actually focus on studying. And that's why I ended up choosing McGill. And McGill in itself was a wonderful choice anyway. So let's say you had all the money in the world and you didn't worry about tuition fees or price of living and all of that. Just objectively speaking about these schools, what they have to offer and everything. Here's kind of more the vibes between these schools. McGill is more research, again, it's very theoretically heavy because it kind of prepares you for all this research and a lot of cool research. Let's say one of our profs, this guy's trying to do interstellar travel with plasma physics as the fuel for like his spaceships. It's absurd, but this guy's actually doing it and he's getting funded to do this, and he's going to be my fluids dynamics prof this upcoming semester. I can't wait for his class. He's a legend, and he's bald, by the way. Like, he's a good engineer, bro. He's like one villain origin story away from being an absolute villain, but he's a good person. I hope. I think he works on explosives, but I hope it's ethical ones. Anyways, back to the main subject. It's more research based, and you're living in a super cool city. You're living in the city of Montreal. A lot of clubs, a lot of cool restaurants, a lot of beautiful people. Montreal has one of the most attractive populations ever. I'm saying this, bro. I'm telling you this. That all the unis in Montreal are just filled with absolute beautiful people. All right. So if you like to party, Montreal's for you. If you don't like to party, though, Waterloo's the university for you. I mean, stereotypically, you know, it's the school with the highest unaliving rate, and stereotypically, you know that the students there, they just don't have fun. Not that they don't want to have fun, they just don't have fun. Maybe they just also their personality, like there's like zero play, zero game, zero nothing, just pure suffering every day, miserable, miserable, miserable. Um, yes, but if you don't care much about this and you only care about academics, maybe Waterloo is a good place for you. But at the end of the day, I realize that the students at McGill suffer as much anyway. It's just that we have a party every day going on, though. We have so many fucking events, especially for engineering. We have so many cool engineering parties going on. Like, for starters, every fucking Friday night in the engineering building's basement, there's an absolute fucking party of the century going on. Funded by McGill. All right? It's crowded. It's not just engineering students who go there at this point. It's all the other programs they pull up to just absolutely party. All right. So there's that. Um but at the end of the day, we're so we're so like cooked with our workload that like we don't even have the time to party. So we might as well be in Waterloo right now. Now, overall, I know that Waterloo supports, entrepreneurship a lot. A lot of students who have kind of an entrepreneurial project going on. You know, Waterloo's a good environment for them because there's a lot of resources there for them to help them out and get started. Same at McGill, honestly. There's also like these accelerators slash combinators. The same thing as Waterloo. Just like at McGill it's called Engine. I think at Waterloo it's also called Engine, but I'm not sure. But whatever the case, like it's for like entrepreneurs. They might like Waterloo, but if you're in Montreal at the same time, you're in a big city already, and there's opportunities for entrepreneurs also. That's also what I'm taking a minor in entrepreneurship at McGill, and there's good resources again. So, but we know that Waterloo has like very well set resources for entrepreneurs, and also good internship opportunities because they have a co-op program integrated with their degrees. So these students actually have to like apply to all these internships and co-ops, and like these companies recognize Waterloo because they see, oh, it's Waterloo, of course, like these kids are smart, we're gonna hire them. And they have some very good internship opportunities integrated, whereas McGill, we don't have a co-op program integrated with our engineering program. So even though we are a very good school, sometimes it's kind of harder for us to land internships. Uh, we have a internship engineering internship program, but it's not just disclosed as much. So companies don't even know about it. And here's why they care, because when it has a co-op program or like the internship program, even when they hire an intern and this intern's from this school with this program, the company gets subsidized. So they get tax returns from like government because they hired interns with these programs. So like they literally they have a money incentive to hire these interns. Whereas like McGill has it, but they don't say it explicitly, so companies don't know. So like when a company has to decide at the end of the day which intern to hire, even if the intern comes from a worse school, let's say, if the student is from a program like this, they're gonna hire this kid because at the end of the day, the intern is just an intern. They're all gonna get formed anyways, and we might as well get the intern that's gonna actually give us more money directly, right, from these tax returns, let's say. So McGill's kind of in the trenches when it comes to internships a bit, but even then, a lot of my classmates are very successful. They're landing the coolest internships out there. So don't let that be an excuse or barrier, right? You're still just at the end of the day, you have to just like bet on yourself. And when you finish school, when you graduate, you don't have these internship programs to support you with your job career anymore. You have to do it from zero anyways. You're gonna have to know how to network. You're gonna have to know how to get these jobs, land these jobs, land these opportunities. And we're already doing that at McGill from the start. Waterloo has the support system, but when they graduate, they're gonna have to figure it out from scratch without that support system. So it's a good training, I guess. And at the end of the day, right now I have 2 internships already. Like, I'm in my 4th year right now. Okay, even though it's gonna take me 5, technically 4th year is the senior year. I have my 2 internships, and usually the standard numbers of internships you want to have to be to be considered kind of pretty successful as a student with internships is 2. 3, it's already fucking amazing. 2, you're doing well already. People sometimes don't even have a single internship. 1, they're already happy. 2, I can't ask for more. Like, this is amazing already. So it's not the end of the world. Even if you don't have an internship program at McGill, you got this. All right. I'm gonna make more videos teaching you how to leverage connections. I'm gonna make more videos about internships later. But yeah, so Waterloo has a co-op program to help you out. But even then, a lot of them, even with the co-op program, they're still struggling to land the internships. So at the end of the day, it just what matters is you. When it comes to the school's design teams, it's more or less the same. All the schools all have cool engineering design teams. I did forget to mention why I didn't choose architecture at McGill. Same reason as the UBC architecture program. Overall, it was because I realized for undergrad, it's just more valuable to take an engineering degree. And then if I wanted to be an architect after, I'll just do a master's. And I'm qualified as an engineer to do this master's degree. So yeah. And I trust my art skills. I'm already super good in art, so it's not about like designing or like my artistic skills is lacking. So I don't really need to go into architecture in undergrad. So yeah, I like engineering anyway. I've always wanted to be a scientist or an engineer, so or an architect. So I'm on the right path that kid me wanted to go on, and it's still the path I want to go on. I think this time it is officially everything I wanted to say. I wish you best of luck in your decisions. And again, don't stress too much because whatever schools you choose, it's really not that deep. It's more or less just slight differences. All right, these little details. But at the end of the day, you got in university, and you're doing this engineering degree. I don't care what country you are in. You're gonna graduate, and you can call yourself an engineer. And you can do engineering stuff, or you can do whatever other degree you're doing. Life only starts after. Anyway, this is just trial version of life. So use this time to grow as a person and experience many things. It's not just all about the school. It's not about the school's prestige. It's not about your grades. It's about everything else in life too that you can't forget to cultivate. All right. That being said, I hope this was useful to you, and I hope you can follow me along this journey. I still got a year and a half left of my degree as of right now when I'm posting this video. So yeah, subscribe to my YouTube. My original series is on TikTok. I also have a fastly growing Instagram right now. And to support me, you can support me on my Patreon. Join the Discord server. There's 10,000 members inside right now already helping each other's out. So if you have questions about school or anything to help each other out, just ask it in the Discord. It's all people in engineering and STEM and a lot of other programs too. You can choose your role in the server, and there's a lot of cool channels for you and a lot of resources. And a lot of resources on my Patreon too. Free and some not free, but it's up to you, right? If you want to buy the very useful resources. My crib sheets, my notes are all on Patreon. So yeah, okay, that's enough yapping. So damn, I realized this is like the first long YouTube video I've made in a huge while. The last one was like teaching y'all how to use ChatGPT, but I'm low-key feeling like remaking one because the production quality was so bad on that. Yeah, so share it to your friends. I'm trying to get monetized on YouTube, so share this to your friends who need to decide so that I get more views, so this channel gets monetized. Yeah, take care.